Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this beautiful morning. Hope everyone must have enjoyed the transcendental vibration at the Prem Sarovar and may have deepened your chanting today. Those spiritual warriors who made our journey successful today were Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, Yamuna Sundari Mataji, Ivy Gautam, Kasturi Mandri Mataji, and everyone, please kindly keep their phone muted. Thank you. Kasturi Mandri Devidasi, Patit Pavan Prabhu, Manani Mataji, Sarmista Sahi Mataji, Amol and Smita Panchpande, Girivardhari Prabhu, Shrikha and Pankaj Gupta, Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, Sri Devidasi, Murli Manohar Prabhu, Samant and Swastika Panchal, Benjamino Prabhu, Shumitra Radha Mataji, Devendra Krishna Prabhu, Divyansan Saloni, Tapti Ghosh Mataji, Carmen Ortega, Parsarthi Prabhu, Swedi Prabhu, Prathmesh Prabhu, Shriya Devidasi, Paramanand Hari Prabhu, Nandan Priya Mataji, Nadia Kumar Prabhu, Saraswati Devidasi. Also early in the morning, Nakul Grover Prabhu joined. Then he logged out. But I welcome him and he has given his contact number. That was nice. Manmata Anand Prabhu, Sundari Radha Mataji, Tulsi Priya Mataji, Namanand Prabhu, Prem Vinodini Mataji, Janki Kan Prabhu, Labanga Latika Mataji, Rajendra Prabhu, Kamal Priya Devidasi, Rag Bhakti Devidasi, Pranath Gopal Prabhu, Radhika Prem Devidasi, Vraj Vinod Prabhu, joined little late today, Anand Vinodini Devidasi, Pandurang Devdas Prabhu, Damodar Rati Mataji, Madhvi Gopi Mataji, Madhav Charan Prabhu, Ananya Bhakti Devidasi, Karunamai Mataji, Amal Nam Prabhu, Mahati Konda Mataji, Barsana Rani Mataji, Kamini Priya Mataji, Sankarshan Prabhu and Manjari Mataji, Radha Vallabh Prabhu, Advait Prabhu, Shrikant Survasi Prabhu, Sachinandan Krishna Prabhu, Sitala Priya Devidasi, Aradhana Mataji and Rasakida Prabhu is not joining. Haribo. Manoj Kapoor Prabhu, Arjun Sitakur Lalit and Josna Vara Balram Prabhu, Radha Charan Prabhu, Ravi Pipilya Prabhu, Ramesh Kamlesh Dingra Mataji, Pitambar Priya Prabhu, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Harikatha Devidasi. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, you did a good job today. Prem Priya Padma Mataji. Amit Prabhu, Lekha Mataji yesterday wrote me that she feels so bad and she said I'll be joining from today, but she missed it today. Haribo, Krishna may bless her. Suchitra Devidasi, Sumit Prabhu, Karunya Murti Devidasi, Abhay Charan Prabhu, Sukruti Devidasi, Navin, Rajesh and Sweta Mataji, Vijay Keshav Prabhu, Uttam Bhakta Prabhu, Vallabhai Mataji, Sri Kumar Prabhu, Hemangini Chauhan Mataji, Kanta Mataji. Those are the spiritual warriors who joined. So let's hear the wonderful song before we will read the prayers of Vedas.
Shrita Kamala Kucha Mandala Druta Kundala Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Dinamani Mandala Mandana Bhava Khandana Muni Janamanasa Hansa Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Kaliya Vishadhara Ganjana Janaranjana यदुकुलनलिनदिनेश जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे मधुमुरनरकविनाशन गरुडासन सुरकुलकेलिनिधान जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे अमलकमलदललोचन भवमोचन त्रिभुवन भवन निधान जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे जनकसुता कृतभूषण जितदूषण समरशमितदशकण्ठ जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे अभिनव जलधर सुन्दर द्रुतमन्दर श्रीमुखचन्द्रचकोर जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे तव चरणे प्रणतावयम् इति भावय कुरु कुशलं प्रणतेषु जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे श्री जय देव कवेरिदं कुरुते मुदं मङ्गलमुज्ज्वलगीतम् जय जय देव हरे जय जय देव हरे.
Thank you very much, Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, for playing a wonderful song by Jayadev Goswami. So we will be reading the prayers of Vedas. While listening the song, the thought came that how can we forget Krishna? Everything moves around just by his glances. Anything happen in our life is due to Krishna's sanction. So we should blissfully accept whatever it comes on our way, then our life will become really blissful. So yesterday we were reading the marginal position of the Jiva soul is described in the Narada Pancharatra. The Tat Stha potency should be understood as emanating from the Lord's Samvit, means knowledge energy. These emanation called the Jiva become conditioned by the qualities of the material nature. Because the minute Jiva lives within the margin between the Lord's external illusory potency, Maya, and his internal spiritual potency, Chit, the Jiva is called Tatastha, marginal. When he earns liberation by cultivating devotion to the Lord, however, he comes completely under the shelter of the Lord's internal potency. And at that time, he is no longer tainted by the modes of material nature. Lord Krishna confirmed this in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances. This is really, really far out sentence, right? Unfailing in all circumstances. Wonderful. At once transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. The object of soul's worship is realized in three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Impersonal Brahman is like the radiant effulgence of the sun. The Supersoul or Paramatma is like the sun globe. And personality of Godhead Bhagwan is like presiding deity within the sun. Complemented by his elaborate entourage and paraphernalia, or to cite another analogy, travelers approaching a city from a distance cannot at first distinguish its future, but rather see something vaguely shining ahead of them. As they come closer, they may discern a few of the taller buildings. Then when they are sufficiently close, they will see the city as it is. A bustling metropolis with many citizens, residences, public buildings, highways, and parks. In the same way, person inclined to impersonal meditation may at best gain some realization of the Supreme Lord's effulgence, Brahman. Those who approach closer can learn to see him as the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. And those who come very, very close can know him in his full personality, Bhagwan. In summary, Srila Sridhar Swami prays. This is always the prayer at the end, Sridhar Swami. O Sri Narhari, please deliver those human beings who have suffered all kind of torments and been ripped apart by the sharp edge of samsara's will, but who have now somehow found you and are surrendering themselves unto you. What a wonderful prayer. So, Vedas prayer 1087:33. The mind is like impetuous horse that even persons who have regulated their senses and breathing cannot control. Those in this world who try to tame the uncontrolled mind, but who abandon the feet of their spiritual master, encounter hundreds of obstacles in their cultivation of various distressful practices. O unborn Lord, they are like merchants on a boat in the ocean who have failed to employ a houseman. Purport. To become qualified to attain love of Godhead, the mature fruit of liberation, one must first subdue the rebellious material mind. Though difficult, this can be achieved when a person replaces his addictions to sense gratification with a taste for the higher pleasure of spiritual life. But only by the favor of the representative of Godhead, the spiritual master, can one gain this higher taste. The spiritual master opens the eyes of the disciple to the wonders of the transcendental realm, as indicated in the Gayatri prayer by the seed mantra of divine knowledge, aim. The Mundaka Upanishad 1 to 12 states as follows. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. And the Katha Upanishad 2:9 declares, this realization, my dear boy, cannot be acquired by logic. It must be spoken by an exceptionally qualified spiritual master to a knowledgeable disciple. Non-Vaishnavas often disregard the importance of surrendering to a spiritual master who stand in an authorized line of disciplic succession, relying instead on their own abilities. Proud yogis and jnanis exhibit their apparent success to impress the world, but their glory is but temporary. Quote from Bhagavatam 10:51-60. The minds of non-devotees who engage in such practices as pranayama are not fully cleansed of material desires. Thus, O king, material desires are again seen to arise in their minds. On the other hand, a humble, steadfast devotee, steadfast of Lord Vishnu and of the Vaishnava is assured of easy victory over the stubborn mind. He need not concern himself with performing the eightfold system of yoga or taking other such measures to keep his mind steady. So if you want to keep mind steady, we need to remain steadfast. Sarvam chaitat guru bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayat. A person can easily obtain all these goals simply by being devoted to his spiritual master. Otherwise, a non-devotee may conquer his senses and vital air and still fail to tame his mind, which will continue to run wild like an unbroken horse. He will suffer unending anxiety over the troublesome executions of various spiritual practices. And in the end, he will remain just as lost in the vast material ocean as he ever was. The analogy given here is very appropriate. A group of merchants who hastily entered upon a sea voyage with expectations of great profit, but who failed to hire a competent houseman for their boat will simply experience great difficulty. The Bhagavatam declares the importance of the bona fide spiritual master in many places, such as this verse from the 11th canto, 2017. This is my favorite verse from Bhagavatam. Nardiham adyam shulubham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karunadharam maya anukulena nabhasvatiritam puman bhavadim nataretse atmaha. Translation. The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. Although it is a very rare achievement. The human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages that every one of us has received, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Therefore, the first business of one who takes human life seriously is to find out a spiritual master who can guide him in Krishna consciousness. Srila Sridhar Swami prays for us. O transcendently blissful Guru, when my mind finally achieves a place at your feet, all the tiresome labor of my spiritual practices will be finished. And by your mercy, I will experience the greatest happiness. What a wonderful prayer Sridhar Swami is. So Vedas continues, 1087:34. To those persons who take shelter of you, which we all are, right? You reveal yourself as a super soul, the embodiment of all transcendental pleasure. What further use have such devotees for their servants, children, or bodies, their wives, money or houses, their land, good health or conveniences? And for those who fail to appreciate the truth about you and go on pursuing the pleasure of sex, what could there be in this entire world? A place inherently doomed to destruction and devoid of significance that could give them real happiness. But devotional service to Lord Vishnu is considered pure when one's sole desire is to please the Lord. Situated in that perfect consciousness, a Vaishnava has no further interest in worldly gains and is thus excused from any obligation to perform ritual sacrifices and follow austere practices of yoga. As the Mundaka Upanishad 1 to 12 states as follows. When a Brahmana recognizes that elevation to the heavenly planet is merely another accumulation of karma, he becomes renounced and is no longer corrupted by his actions. The Bruhad Aranyaka 449 and Katha 614 Upanishad confirm as follows. When a person completely gives up all the sinful desire he is harboring in his heart, he exchanges morality for eternal spiritual life and attains real pleasure in the absolute truth. And the Gopal Tapni Upanishad also confirm. Devotional service is the process of worshipping the Supreme Lord. It consists of fixing one mind upon Him by becoming disinterested in all material designation. Sarva upadhi vinurmukta tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rusikesa sevanam bhakti ruchyate. That is the definition of bhakti. We should become free from all designations, both in this life and the next. This indeed is true renunciation. The item the Shrutis mention here are all measures of worldly success. Swajanaha, servants, Atma, a beautiful body, Suta, children to be proud of, Daraha, an attractive and competent spouse, Dhanam, financial assets, Dham, a prestigious residence, Dara, holding of land, Aswaha, health and strength, and Rathaha, cars and other vehicles that display one's status. But One who has begun to experience the ecstasy of devotional service loses all attraction for these things, since he finds real satisfaction in the Supreme Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, who enjoy by sharing his own pleasure with his servants. So if we are still attached, that means still we have not yet created the attractions toward the Supreme Lord. We are each free to choose the course of our life. We can either dedicate our body, mind, words, talents, and wealth to the glory of God, or else we can ignore Him and struggle instead for our personal happiness. The second path leads to a life of slavery to sex and ambition, in which the soul never feels real satisfaction, but instead suffers continuously. Vaishnavas are distressed to see materialistic suffering in this way, and so they always strive to enlighten them. Sridhar Swami, pray for us as follows. For those who worship you, you become their very self, their spiritual treasure of topmost bliss. What further use have they for mundane wives, children, and so forth? Vedas continue 1087:35. Sages free from false pride live on this earth by frequenting the sacred pilgrimage sites and those places where the Supreme Lord displayed his pastimes. Because such devotees keep your lotus feet within their hearts, the water that washes their feet destroys all sins that we do every morning. Anyone who even once turned his mind toward you, the ever blissful soul of all existence, no longer dedicates himself to serving family life at home, which simply robs a man of his good qualities. We should not neglect our family because they are also Krishna conscious, but utilize everything for their advancement, engage them in those activities that can elevate them also. This is the duty of a husband. So the purport is really long, and I don't think that we will be able to finish it. So I think the time has come that we should stop, always give the respect to the time and punctuality in our life. So with those thoughts, Krishna has made all wonderful arrangement for all of us. And it's nice. So uh, sometimes I feel like repeating the message, but I feel that like today, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, I have been communicating with him, and I beg him that please for 6 months, give up your speed, just calm down. Each syllabus has their potency, and really we can get enlightened when we hear this transcendental sound. There is nothing else in this world can give you the happiness that the holy name can give you. Have that faith, conviction, and give total attention to this practice. When we sit down for chanting, there should be no distractions. Completely, mind, body, soul, everything should be engaged in one thing. The tongue can chant and ear can hear the holy name. And you will see And I want to see one day all the devotees will chant pure name. And then this wave will go further and further. Like, Prabhupada used to say, if you put a stone in one place and more people put the stone at the same place, the circle will increase tremendously. And this wave will help all other living beings. With those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. Whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful and totally fearless. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who take austerity to join every morning from Houston, from India, from New Jersey, Boston, College Station, Virginia, Boise, St. Louis, Alachua, Montreal, San Jose, Phoenix, Tempe, Brampton, and Austin. Vanchukalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavane